What is up, guys? Jay-Z with Team EOC here, coming at you with the video, starting off this YouTube channel, this Yugioh channel. I thought I'd just, start off with my history with Yu-Gi-Oh, Uh, the other videos are going to be like unboxings, there's going to be deck profiles, all sorts of great stuff. But I thought, what more appropriate way to start off the channel than my history with Yu-Gi-Oh, my whole story with Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe I'll make it a multiple part thing. I don't know. But basically, the first exposure I ever had to Yu-Gi-Oh was I was watching Kids WB randomly, like I think for Pokemon or something, whatever else was on Kids WB or whatever at the time, and I just happened to catch an episode of the show. This is like I was like in third grade, so this must be like 2000 or something. I just happened to catch an episode of the show. It was the episode where Kaiba has his Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and he's fighting Yugi on top of the fucking Duelist Kingdom or whatever. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Look at this Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon card. And he's like fighting this magician guy and this other guy, and they're like using cards and shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It's like it's almost like Pokemon, but like so much more edgy and different and stuff. And I'm just like, this is awesome. And so I went to, so I thought that was great. I watched the episode, and then I don't think there was another one after that. That must have been new at the time or something. And then I go to school like one of the next few days. I think it was maybe even just the next day, and my friend Maya was like, "Yeah, man, you ever hear this thing Yu-Gi-Oh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I saw that episode with the giant dragon and stuff." I think he probably knew I was. That's the only episode I'd seen, but I pretended like I'd seen the whole, like I was a big fan or whatever. But I was telling them about it, and I'm like, "That was awesome," and they're like, "Yeah, man, it's so cool." So I always remember that. But after that, I think like maybe like within the next year, I don't know, maybe we're still in third grade at the time. I don't know. Either that year or the next year, the thing blew up throughout my elementary school, and I remember uh, like they banned the cards for a while for some reason. I don't remember why they used to do that, but like I don't know, because they had like crazy artwork or something. Like I remember just watching people duel and stuff, and I didn't have any of the cards at the time. I was just watching them play it. I'm like, what the? How do you even like do all this stuff? And like, I think I was collecting Pokemon cards at that point, but like I'd never like really played the game that much. And Yu-Gi-Oh is like a whole different thing anyway. So yeah, there was that. So it was crazy. It was just like this crazy thing, and I'm like, I gotta get into this. This looks awesome. And there was like all the older kids were like playing it and stuff. I don't remember. They might have had like real decks or just like the structured decks. They probably just had the structured decks or whatever. But with some extra cards and stuff. But they certainly knew what they were doing. I fucking didn't. But the one I remember is like I was watching a duel, and somebody kept using the card Trap Master, and it's like I think you flip it and you like destroy a trap or something. I don't remember, but I remember the artwork. It's like ingrained and burned permanently into my head because it was so freaky or whatever. So I always remember that card. And then later on, I don't remember. I remember when, and I think shit, I think even it was like a Kmart or something. We didn't even have Kmart here anymore. But fucking, I was like, well, I was doing soccer at the time. I remember that. I just don't know if I was never fucking athletic. I sucked at soccer and baseball and all the other ones. So, but anyway, we did soccer at the time. And I remember one time after a match, I was like, I was telling my mom like, oh, I need this structure deck, and she's like, oh, okay. So then we went and I got the Yugi structure deck. I remember this is great. And so I don't know why I chose the Yugi one over Kaiba. I mean, I probably could have chose the Kaiba one like everyone else did, for Blue Eyes Ultimate or Blue Eyes not Ultimate Dragon at the time, but Blue Eyes White Dragon at the time, which is what basically everyone else chose. But I want to choose the Yugi one because I must have thought Dark Magician was cooler or something. I don't know. Obviously he's not as good of a card as Blue Eyes White Dragon, especially at the time, and Blue Eyes White Dragon was vastly superior. But yeah, so I chose the Yugi one. I don't know, maybe I like the underdog or whatever. And I remember it was just great. And then I would duel people and stuff, and I was probably pretty terrible at the time. But I remember everyone was trading cards and stuff, and they were all like, I didn't even probably know what a booster pack was at the time or whatever. So like, I just didn't have any of those. But yeah, so that I had that deck for the longest time. I know my friend Nick had a Blue Eyes White Dragon, the Kaiba deck or whatever, and so we would duel like that. But he was more into other stuff like skateboarding and stuff. So like I don't know, we never dueled that terribly much, but we would every now and again kind of thing. And I remember that. So, but I had the Yugi deck, and then I remember for whatever reason, uh, some guy had like I was like, oh, I saw this purple card, and I'm like, oh man, that's got to be sick, right? It's purple. It's like a new different type or whatever. It's like a fusion monster, right? And so it was Cyber Source, like which is like a pretty terrible fusion monster, which apparently was actually pretty good at one point for instant fusion or something. There's some kind of combo with it or something, but I remember I saw this from this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I can't summon it because I don't have all the cards to do it." I'm like, "Oh man, you got to give me that card, man. It's so cool. It's like it's badass. I need that card." And so he's like, "Yeah, I guess." So he just like gave it to me because he couldn't summon it. And I never fucking summoned the thing. Who would summon Cybersaurus, right? But anyway, so I just thought that was great, and then. So Cybersaurus, that's a nostalgic card for me because I had it for whatever. So, but yeah, I remember playing it a lot then. But then it kind of died out because they banned the cards or whatever. Basically they kept taking cards from people or like you couldn't have them at recess or whatever. So people just stopped playing, I think, or like played outside of school or something. Or people snuck them in and still played anyway. But if you were caught, I think they like took them or something, which I don't think ever happened to me. But yeah, I had the Yugi deck, and then I don't think I was that into it for a while. I mean, I probably was pretty into it, but like the next really big moment I remember being into. Well, okay, here's what happened. I remember this. Okay, so me and my friend Sean, who was like 1 year younger than me, so he was in second, maybe even third grade while we were in fourth grade and we were playing the game. At the time, my friend Sean was also into it, so I would duel him a lot and stuff. And then I had another friend, his friend really, Tim, and his brother would duel us and stuff. So, and oh shit, what was awesome? I don't know if this is going out of order. I don't think it is because this must be before like fifth or sixth grade. Well, okay, so let's just go with this then. So I got the Yugi deck, right? And then eventually I did get the Kaiba deck, of course. And then I also got the Joey deck. I got a story about that in a minute. And I think before that I had the Pegasus deck. With that Pegasus deck, I have a really cool story because I pulled this card, and it was a card on the back, and I wish I still had this. It got torn out. That's the end of the story. But it was like a barcode, like that, like I don't even know how to explain it, like a barcode. So it was like red, white, yellow, magenta. It looked like a test card or something that where they like just printed off randomly, and I like no, I've never seen one since, and it was some kind of misprint card or something, like I think, but like yeah, it had that on the front and the Yu-Gi-Oh card back on the back, like this on the back, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then like I looked it up online and something, and they were like, oh yeah, that means that's a card that could have been any card. So I like we didn't play by the rules back then. You just throw monsters out. You don't tribute summon or any of that shit. You didn't fucking do that back then. That would have made the game hard. Nobody would have liked it if you had to do all that stuff. So we just played the game like any other kids would. But I remember I used to play that card as if it was any card. So it'd just be I could just call out any card and have the attack and defense and all that of any card. And then my friends would always get pissed off that I used it, but it was the coolest thing. I really wish that I wouldn't have traded it. But my friend was offering me the Winged Dragon of Ra, which I thought, oh man, that's pretty cool or whatever. But it was obviously the one you couldn't even use at the time. And even if it was the one you could use, it's pretty terrible to begin with. So I got the Winged Dragon of Ra for it. And then just to end it, they tore it up because they wanted me to never be able to use that card again. I used to play it as like the Crush card and all that kind of shit. And it's funny. But, so yeah, that was always fun. Um, I remember one time actually. This might be getting a little bit ahead of the story, but oh, I should tell the Joey story first. So I had the Joey structure deck, right? I didn't get it until after the other three that were out at the time, and then maybe they were doing the evolution decks at the time. I don't remember. I think those were after the Joey deck probably. But I got the Joey deck. I said, well, I was doing baseball at the time, right? Said that, and then so we used to go to the batting cage, me and my dad, for me to practice, right? And he told me if you hit all of the balls, you know, like if you hit every single one or whatever, then I'll get you this structure deck. And I'm like, all right. And I did it somehow. I mean, I was terrible at baseball, but somehow I did it. So, I mean, hey, you know, cool. So I got the Joey structure deck. And to my friend Nick now, who asked what was so great in that deck, Jinzo was in that deck, I think. So there you go, pal. That's what was so great in that deck. Jinzo, and they had a few other. Scapegoat, I think, was in there and that kind of stuff. So those were pretty good cards for the time. Yeah, but yeah. So I got the Joey one, and then um, so I kind of had one of each of the decks or whatever. I remember I used to play. I used to be in this daycare like during the summer or whatever. Oh well, actually, I'm trying to think. I don't think we were allowed to play Yu-Gi-Oh in the daycare that I went to after school. I think they had banned that there too. But I think for a little bit you could play Yu-Gi-Oh there. So I would do that with my friend Sean, who I think I met there, and then also maybe my friend Banana now. He's my friend Banana now, but at the time he was just a kid. But he um might have done that. So I don't remember. I don't remember if he had Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. But anyway, so yeah, so there was that. But I at this daycare I went to during the summer, I would always um I would always play Yu-Gi-Oh with them. I gave them some cards. I think at that time I was probably now starting to buy booster box or not boxes. Boxes are insane. I didn't buy those until like 2010. But booster packs and whatnot. Not myself really. I mean, I'd get my parents to buy them. I didn't have any money back then, but I'd buy booster packs. I remember specifically one time, and this was pretty later on, I would say, but the one time I can ever remember going into Toys R Us as a kid, and I got the Pharaoh Servant. That's the one, right? With the it's got the Thousand Eyes Restrict on the cover, I think, or something, right? Isn't that the one? It's like red. I can just picture it now, but like, I got that, and I thought back then for some reason I thought first edition meant that it was like the only one like that was in first edition or something, or they like did a certain. It would have been more right to assume that they did a certain run. Obviously, that's how first editions work. They do a certain run of them, and then afterwards, they're just kind of done. But I thought that meant that they're the only ones. And I'm like, oh man, how do you get first editions in all of these? It's like, no, that was stupid. But anyway, I was a dumb kid. All right, that's all right. But you know, so yeah, definitely. Yeah, I remember pulling some of those pack. I don't think I ever did like the Blue Eyes pack or the Metal Raiders or Magic Ruler or any of that. I don't remember opening any of those packs really, but the Pharaoh's Servant, I know I opened that one, so that was a little later on. But yeah, so I know I opened some packs. But anyway, the thing is, so I used to play at this daycare, and I gave them each of them kind of certain ones of the cards and stuff, and like traded them and stuff, and they I think maybe had their own and stuff too. So we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh there. It's still not rule worthy at that point. I remember more towards like fifth or sixth grade. My friend Sean is finally like, and we were like friends off and on again or something like that. My friend Sean was finally like, hey, you have to like tribute summon and stuff. And I'm like, the fuck does that mean? Like in the show? We have to do that? Like, he's like, yeah, man, you gotta do that. I'm like, really? We gotta do all that? So, yeah, so then we started playing the game more properly. But I remember, well, that might have been more around the time when I would have gotten like the Pegasus structure, because I remember I built a Toon deck, and I would always play that against my friend Drew, who lived right next door to me. Um, so that was fun. I always liked the Toons back then, maybe just because of Pegasus or something, but I liked them because you could attack directly. But like, they're such a hassle to get out at the same time. You had to have Toon World and all that. And yeah, so it was just kind of a pain, but they were good. They were a good deck. I liked running those back then. Other than that, I probably just had like a random mishmash of a deck. But I definitely think, yeah, tunes, man. That was one of the ones. That was like one of the first archetypes I actually ran because that was like one of the first archetypes, right? Is tunes. So that was fun. More around like fifth and sixth grade, I remember me and my friend Drew playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but we were kind of getting out of it by then. Um, yeah, and then he moved away before middle school, so I kind of think I got out of it a little bit. I was still okay. So the anime, I kept up on the anime until somewhere in the fifth season. Oh, here's another good story from right at the beginning. Whenever I got my blue eyes originally, I had lent it to my friend so he could beat his brother at Yu-Gi-Oh, and it got very crumpled up, and I was very sad. I'm sad I don't still have that one because that would have been a pretty nostalgic thing to have, even in the state that it was. But it's kind of like in the show where he rips it in half, but he still puts it together, kind of thing. They didn't rip it in half. That would have been awful, but yeah, that was pretty bad. But anyway, oh, and then I had my other friend, I had a friend Evan, who I saw sometimes, and I think this is when we are still playing bullshit rules or whatever. But he would play the Thousand Eyes Restrict and all of that like Pegasus would in the show. So he would just like play it like that, and like we didn't fucking read the texts and stuff of the card back then, so I didn't know what he could actually do. Or maybe I read it and I like tried to say no, you can't do that, but he's like, yeah, I can because Pegasus did it in the show or something. So I remember him running that deck. That was pretty funny. But so yeah, that was cool. I tried to. That was the other thing. Before I get to middle school, I tried to make my own Dungeon Dice Monsters board, like with card sleeves. I don't even know how to explain it. It was really stupid. Actually, it would work if I would have made just like I was thinking about this the other day. If I would have just made like a big cardboard or like not a cardboard, but like we used to use them for projects, like the big white project paper or whatever. If I would have just like drawn an outline for that with card sleeves or something, I could have made a Dungeon Dice Monsters with that. That would have been pretty innovative at the time, but I didn't think of that. So, but anyway, so after that, I kind of was like, okay, whatever, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, I'm kind of moving on. I kind of got out of Pokemon about the same time. Wasn't as interested around the Johto era. I watched some of the Johto era, but I didn't watch until well, that was Hoenn when he changed his voice. I never was into Pokemon in the Hoenn, but that's a whole different story. We'll talk about that. I mean, I can talk about that on my JZNES channel. I have talked about that on my JZNES channel. Seamless plug. No, I'm just kidding. Shameless plug. That's what people say. But anyway, so in middle school, in the GX era, I remember I was watching the show because it must have been on alongside Code Lyoko or something. So I'd come home from school, I'd watch GX and Code Lyoko at the same time, which is a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys remember Code Lyoko, but that was a show. But I watched GX because I liked the original anime a lot, and I really liked GX. I mean, GX was really cool, especially back then. I could super relate because Jaden was just like the everyman, like fucking middle school kid, or whatever. Keep your game on and stuff. So I think GX is kind of underrated because like nobody likes GX, and it's a great era. The heroes and all that, and that was great. I don't really think I was playing the card game quite as much around then. I remember in middle school, me and my friend Sean played a little bit, but and I had like upgraded my deck since then or something. Like I built it better or something, and no, I think that was in high school. I was thinking of a different time in high school. But anyway, I'll get to that when I get to that. So during the GX era, I was a little more dormant on Yu-Gi-Oh. I still had all my cards and stuff. I think, as far as I can think of, I don't know what happened to all my old cards. They might be some of the ones I have in this box now, but for some reason I don't think so. I don't know what actually happened to them. Maybe I gave them away or traded them or something. But yeah, so during the GX era, I was a little more less into it. I was watching the anime, which is cool, and then right around maybe like 2000. So I took a big break. 2009 and 2010. Maybe it was like 2008 or something. I think it'd be more like 2008 or 2009. but my friend